The first tip we're going to talk about is called the Cyrano. This is a little hack in recruiting that I absolutely love. I think it works great, and I'm happy to share it with all of you. Cyrano de Bergerac, I don't know if anyone's heard that or you've read the book. It's very, very old. There was a movie made of it, kind of a modern-day version called Roxanne with Steve Martin in the 80s, if you've heard of that one. Anyway, either way, I'm dating myself that I know both of these things. But Cyrano de Bergerac was basically a less than attractive person with a big nose, but he fell in love with the beautiful Roxanne. Of course, she fell in love with the pretty boy who didn't have a lot going on personality-wise or upstairs. Long story short, Cyrano is feeding lines to the beautiful guy to woo the lovely Roxanne. And fast forward, of course, the happy ending is that Roxanne realizes that the person that she fell in love with is not the pretty boy, but the words that were coming from, ultimately, Cyrano. And of course, the ugly guy with the big nose gets his girl. This story really translates well to a recruiting context in a way. So I'm going to take one step back here. This is how many people out in the industry view recruiters. Hey, what's it going to take to get you in this opening today? Like, we have sort of this cheesy salesman perception or reputation, unfortunately. If you go to Google and you plug in recruiters are, and you know how it auto-completes. And there's horrible things that come up, evil, the devil, a waste of time, like horrible, spammy, like all kinds of negative adjectives, unfortunately. And so sometimes people would be open to an opportunity or they'd be open to hearing about one, but because it's delivered by a recruiter, they're immediately sort of defensive about it. So they may not be open to responding to a recruiter sometimes because of some of these negative kind of perceptions in the market. But who would they be more likely to respond to? Let's think about that. Boom. So if they're a techie might be more likely to respond to a fellow techie or your tech manager or one of the people on the hiring team on the tech side. So what I do is I actually write out the message. I forward it to my hiring manager or my hiring team for certain roles, of course, not every time. These hard to fill positions where like user experience or product managers or mobile developers, people who get hit up by recruiters a lot. So I will actually have my hiring manager send a message to a mobile developer and say, hey, we saw your information, would love to chat with you. We're doing some hiring on the team. Let me know if you have a few minutes this week. I have actually written that message, but I have forwarded it to the hiring manager to send. So sometimes it's not the message, it's actually the messenger. So I leverage my hiring team to help me get people to respond back to my sourcing and outreach messages this way. So I'm sort of the ugly Cyrano, trying to woo the lovely Roxanne, but I had this kind of middleman happening. And it absolutely drives up response rates. Techies, even marketing people, finance people, they're much more likely to respond to a peer or a hiring authority figure versus a recruiter. So try this. If you're not hearing back a lot or if you have a position where you're getting a low response rate, try writing the message, crafting the message, and having the hiring manager send it on your behalf. I even have some clients who create email aliases. I'm not telling you to do this. This is a little borderline, but I know people do it, where they work with IT and they create email aliases that are john.smith@acme.com, and it's actually a bogus sort of email address with the name of the head of engineering in there, but that email comes and goes directly to the recruiting team, but it looks like it comes from the head of engineering. Again, a little, you do what you're comfortable with. Of course, the head of engineering sees what the messages are that are going out on his behalf, and it appears to be coming from somebody that it's not. But ultimately, it's the recruiter message anyway. So anyway, a little something that's a little shade of gray there versus a black or white. But think about it. Be creative when you're reaching out and who the person is that's reaching out.